time, been a long time coming. Whoa, whoa.
Welcome to day 2 of the fairy tale reread. We're coming into chapter 2, and in chapter 2 we're going to see Ed and Marnie a bit more. We've seen them at the beginning of chapter 1 a little bit, but you get a flavour of what it's like in Kowalski's, of the kind of the friendship that they all have, and then you also meet the very hunky, the very lovely Mr. Nate Amy, who appears at a party scene in this chapter. Now, I mentioned yesterday about Ed. I need to talk about Ed. We need to talk about Ed Steinmann, the human iceberg, as he's referred to throughout the book. Mr. Steinmann started off as just a bit of a light relief, a comedy character. He was going to have wisecracks. He was sort of New York in the book. And in my initial idea, it was Rosie's friendship with Nate Amy that was going to be the main thrust of the book. And Ed was really just supposed to be a supporting cast. He was meant to come on with Marnie and they were a little double act. And then he was supposed to kind of bug Rosie about her love life. But by the end of writing chapter 1, so you see him at the end of chapter 1, he says, "Suitably chastened, my lady," and he does a little bow. And at that point, he decided he was going to be a major character. Now, this is the first book I'd ever written. And I'd heard authors before talking about their characters doing things they didn't expect and making decisions for them, and I thought that was a bit weird. And to be fair, it is a bit weird, but I can honestly say with Ed that he decided he was going to be a main character. And so by the end of chapter 1, the story had changed, my idea of what was going to happen in the story had changed, and Ed had become a really important character in the book. Now, I love Ed, I really love Ed, and I love the fact that he was completely different to Nate, and that straight away you had this kind of difference between the two. So I'm going to read what Rosie says about him in chapter 2. Only a little bit, again, not reading the whole book because, you know, you've got lives. You don't have to do this. Okay, so here we go. Ed is one of those people you instantly like. I love his quick wit and cheekiness, despite being on the receiving end of it more often than I'd like. Ed can deliver a one-liner faster than a speeding bullet, and it always makes me smile. Maybe it's this mischievous quality in him that the good ladies of Manhattan find so irresistible. I have to admit, when Steinmann puts his mind to something, it's difficult to say no to him. Even when he's tired or hungover, the charm is never far away. In fact, it's often particularly endearing when he's looking more dishevelled than usual. Ed's style is what he calls relaxed, but what my mum would call scruffy. His dark brown hair never looks tamed, no matter what he does with it, but this suits his style down to the ground. He does make an effort occasionally and never looks unprofessionally untidy, but most of the time he has the kind of appearance that makes guys want to hang out with him and women want to take care of him. And it's what I love about Ed is that he doesn't really care, he just turns up and he does his stuff. He's sometimes hungover. He seems to be dating the whole of Manhattan and he's Mr. Cheeky. And Rosie sees this and it's kind of a bit of a joke. But then you have this idea that he's waiting for what he calls his specific someone. And this becomes really important as we go through the book. But I love him. He's really good. And then also in chapter 2, we meet Nate Amy. Now, Nate, in my head he was Matthew McConaughey, although now obviously if they made a movie of Fairytale of New York, I think it would probably have to be someone a bit younger. But you know, Matthew McConaughey was just like Mr. Chill, Mr. Laid Back, but kind of effortlessly gorgeous. That's who I had in mind for playing Nate. And so Rosie meets him at a party and she says about him, she remembers something that her mum says, that he looks really comfortable in his own skin. He's just very chilled. He loves what he's doing. He's in and amongst his publishing friends and he just feels very kind of chilled and lovely. And instantly kind of catches Rosie's eye and she notices that he's watching her, and this is where it all begins. So there we go, chapter 2. It's quite fun, isn't it? Doing a chapter a day is actually really good fun, and for me it's lovely to go back and revisit it. There are some sentences that I'm going, oh, I would have written that differently now, but it's still a lovely story and I love it. So ready for chapter 3. Tomorrow I will tell you all about Kowalski's and where the idea came from, and actually which shop it's based on in New York. So if you happen to be in New York, you can go and visit the shop that it's based on. So thanks for reading. And like I say, if you've got any questions, if anything comes up and you want to know something about the story or something about the characters or the writing of the book, just send me a message. You can leave a message underneath this post. You can tweet me at Wordsmith. I'm also Wordsmith on Instagram, Miranda Dickinson author at Facebook, or you can email me mirandawordy@gmail.com. Happy reading, have a lovely day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Been a long time coming.